everyone, and welcome to the February 2024 edition of Easy Talks. If you look and you see, there is more than just E and Z in the building today. We have some very, very, very special panelists as we are doing Easy Talks Self-Love Roundtable. So get ready to get your cup filled. Get ready to take a journey with us as we explore what self-love has looked like among our crew that we have gathered today. Again, I am the E in Easy. I'm Erica Lynn, and my soul sister,
Zinda Lynette, coming from Naples.
Hey, we got Florida in the building. So, again, this is a super new thing that we are doing here, but we have some queens that we feel like are just going to fill your cup, sow into your life, plant some seeds, water some seeds that's already been planted. So again, just please be on this ride with us as we talk about self-love and what our journeys have been. So before any further ado, I'm going to kick it off to my right, and who I see is the one and only Jennifer. So please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jen, Jennifer, whichever, either or. I don't know. I'm here to talk about my experience. I was super nervous when I got invited, and I had a lot of thoughts about it, and I've been like picking and pondering, and I think today I woke up and I was just ready, and I'm excited to be here, and I'm thankful that you guys invited me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here, Queen. Next, the one and only Doris. Please introduce yourself, Queen.
Hi, I'm Doris. I am so excited about this. I'm thankful to be invited. I'm happy to be a part of this. I am working in the mental health field. I'm a previous therapist and getting back on that boat. So really excited about this topic and just want to be able to share what I can and hopefully help someone along the way.
Thank you so much for that. Grace.
Hey. So I'm Grace. I am the host of the Out Here Trying to Survive podcast, which is for Black and brown women of color, like 35-ish and over, who are just out here trying to survive all of the things, aging and parenting and perimenopause and divorce and everything that we are going through. And I am a mom of 3, and yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Grace. And for those who are super duper excited to tune in to the Out Here Trying to Survive podcast, where can they find that at?
You can find it everywhere: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and I have the video version on the YouTube channel of the same name, which is Out Here Trying to Survive. It is spelled wrong on purpose. It's TRYNA. But also I have a website, outheretryingtosurvive.com. Oh, and on TikTok, Out Here Trying to Survive. So I'm keeping the branding. So yes,
thank you for that.
Find me.
Yes. All right, Queen Amari.
Hi, my name is Amari. I'm an owner of a mobile bartender, owner of a mobile bartender company. I also do luxury rentals. I've been trying to step into that, but I'm just excited to be here. I have a busy day, but I made sure to cut out some time because I wanted to spend with you guys.
Thank you so much for that, Queen. And for anyone in the Kalamazoo and surrounding areas, if you are looking for a mobile bartending service that is A1 quality, everything that you could ever imagine, and some, from the decor to the ambiance to the flavors. It ain't just all the way juiced down, you know what I mean? It had that little extra hit, but if you wanted juice down, she got you for that too. But it is the one and only Luxury Sips. Please feel free to Google all of that. She is phenomenal, y'all. So without any further ado, you are so welcome, Queen. We are going to jump into the first question. So SS, I'm going to start off with you. What does self-love mean to you personally?
Being the first to put you first, and always. Period.
I love that. Thank you. Say less. That's it. That's all. Jen, for you, what does self-love mean for you personally?
I think it's allowing yourself to be in all life's glory and all of life's mess and accepting it.
That was rich. Thank you. Darice?
For me, it means just taking care of you in every aspect, in every way that you can, just being there for yourself and taking care of yourself.
Thank you for that. Grace?
For me, I think self-love means, for me, for my personal journey, it has meant loving the little girl version of me and giving her everything she needed. And which really means loving every part of me now, even the parts that aren't pretty or need healing or need work.
Thank you for that. Amari?
I would say my self-love would be unconditional loving yourself through the ups, the downs, growing. So just unconditional and always putting yourself first. Always, you got to put yourself first. You got to pour into your cup so you can pour into others.
Thank you for that. And for me, self-love, I feel like self-love comes after. Like for me, self-love begins with self-discovery. It begins with self-acceptance. It begins with the willingness to look at myself wholly. Because it's easy to see the fractured pieces of me or the parts of me that like I really like, and then like kind of pushing those other parts away, kind of like with what Grace was speaking of. But the wholeness and the fullness and the allness of me is really what that self-love, my self-love journey has shown me. Sis, I'll kick it off to you.
Okay, Queen. The next question we have for all of us is, how do you prioritize self-love in your daily life? And we'll start with whomever wants to go first.
Sorry, I keep muting and unmuting mine because my kids are here and I'm afraid they're gonna run in and be like, Mom, so-and-so,
Me too.
all over the bathroom and you're gonna hear it. Right. But I'll start with that one. Because I've been working on this a lot lately. Just like, what does it look like daily? So the first thing I do is to start the day with telling myself I love myself. So usually as soon as I wake up, I'm cognizant of, if I'm awake, of like, hey, I love you, you're beautiful, you're kind. I just say nice stuff to myself. And some of the more practical things have really looked like, what does it genuinely look like to actually care for my body? Because that's something I haven't always done. And I mean like taking my multivitamin, flossing, stuff that's just like so bare bone, basic self-love. But I think the biggest thing for me day to day, it really is alleviating anything that I wouldn't say to a friend or anything I wouldn't allow someone else to say to me. Like if, like, damn, you don't look good today, or you know what I mean? Or like, what's wrong with your hair? Like what's, or you're a failure, anything I just wouldn't let anyone say to me, or that I wouldn't say to a friend, I do not allow. And that I think is the biggest lesson of self-love that I've forced myself maybe in these last 6 months, is I immediately replace negative self-talk with positive self-talk. So that's been very life-changing for me, and that's a day-to-day battle. So that takes a good amount of energy.
Yeah. I guess I'll go next. So a daily thing. So when I started the year off, I read a book called, what is it? The 12-week year. I think it's the 12-week year. And it kind of breaks down your years. You don't look at it as a year. You break your year down as 12 weeks. And I had seen this thing where, you have your self goals, your personal goals, your business goals. And kind of like Grace, like one of my goals is every day, take my vitamins. Like that'd be the littlest thing. But as soon as you start like having a routine of like, okay, like I feel good, I've been doing this. I make sure I go to the gym every day. I try to at least. And to just spend that time with myself in the morning. Like she said, affirmations are always great. always, positive thinking, but just making sure at least I spend an hour to myself, my morning routine, night routine, wash my face, like just little stuff like that. But it really makes a difference of how you pour into yourself and how you make yourself feel, that I do daily.
I'll go. For me, it's a very big challenge every day to like give myself love and to show up for myself and to practice that aspect of self-love. So I really have to work very hard at being like intentional about showing up for myself and loving myself. And so for me, I find myself most able to do that when I am struggling through the day. I'm having a bad day or a bad morning, or work is just really stressful and things just aren't going well. That's when I can like check in with myself and say, okay, Doris, what's going on? What do we need in this moment? How do we get through this process? How do we get better through this? And so asking myself those questions and giving myself grace and just being there in that moment, being able to disconnect from whatever the craziness is going on and just be there in that moment to give myself that space, to me is showing myself that love that I need.
I'll go next. I I think over the last year, I've actually failed quite a bit, and I probably shouldn't say fail because we are in the seasons that we need to be in for a reason. But I haven't been necessarily self-loving. I haven't been showing up for myself. And I think that in probably the last week, I've realized that I haven't shown up for myself as much as I should. And I think that that is the biggest thing in self-love for me in this moving forward, is acknowledging that I haven't been and listening to the things that I need so that I can feel loved by me. So it's getting up and walking my dog before I go to work, or making myself a cup of tea, because not everybody knows, but tea is a really big deal. Tea and juice. It's a big thing in my world right now. So I think honoring these things that mean something to me so that I can move forward with them and incorporating them back into my daily life is how I've been showing up for me, how I've been self-loving. And may it only have been a week, I think it's a week in the direction that I need to be going. So it's even if it's, oh, I know I should drink that glass of water, but I'm gonna drink this pop because, well, why not? And instead of saying nope, I'm not gonna drink that pop, and I'm gonna drink this cup of water because I know this cup of water is gonna make me feel better, and I know this cup of water is gonna make my insides better. And I think just acknowledging when you're being self-destructive because you're in a weird place. So those are self-love tactics, I think. Just acknowledging when you're not doing it so that you can do better at it.
So real quick, Jen, I just want to just shout you out real quick and just like shine a light on that, because for me, like one of my biggest things is breaking down the rigidity of practices and how it's so easy to focus in on like, oh, well, I do ABC and I check off my boxes and that, and instead of being like the fact that I'm not doing it and the awareness, that is self-love, and that deserves to be celebrated and honored. It's not just like the things are great. Don't get me wrong, please, at all. But the willingness to see like, wow, when I do this, it doesn't serve me. And this is what it does to me. So that way I know it's not serving me. That's love. That analysis, that willingness to process, that willingness to be with is also self-love. Like, it doesn't have to be this grandiose thing. It's the moments. And even with you, Doris, I love that you brought that up, because it's like the willingness to keep it real with yourself, that too is self-love. So I want to thank all of you so much for sharing. And this is what I do. I just be jumping in sometimes. But Thank you so much for bringing up these points, because this is part of why we're doing it. It's not just the things, it's all of the other extraness too that makes self-love so valuable and so key. And we can remix it and we can get messy with it and we can have all of those things, and yet it still holds the essence of loving ourselves and that journey of what does work and what doesn't work, what does serve us, what needs to be released, what do we need to keep doing, what really fills our cup, what really enlivens us and lights up our day. Like all of it is included in self-love. Go ahead, SS, so that way we can hear you too.
And with that said, sis, I'd like to hear what your daily practices are to prioritize yourself, and then I'll go. How about that?
Okay, well, thank you. I'll take that on. So, for me, the one daily practice that I have and that I have honored for quite some time now is one morning meditation. So the first thing I do when I open up my eyes is I reach over, grab my phone, and set a 15-minute timer. And I allow myself to start my day in meditation. I used to be super rigid with it too. Like, Erica, this is the way we have to do it. And now sometimes I do it sitting up. Sometimes I do it laying down. Sometimes I do it half sleep. Sometimes my mind is racing the whole time, but it's mine. It's my 15 minutes that I intentionally set myself up for the day. And then I end my night every day doing hypnosis. So it helps me sleep. It's like the beginning of my day and the end of my day. And in between, I kind of want to piggyback on Doris, because it's like, it's not these big things, but it's in those moments where I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Like, girl, like, another example, I'm real paranoid. I got a big old pimple on my chin. So I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so big, it's so gross. Oh, how can I fix it? How can I make it? So I'm about to be all on the Zoom, and that joker is gonna have his own conversation because of how big it is on my face. And I'm just like, really, Erica? Like, how does this make you feel? Like, it's your face and it's your pimple. So why can we not share space with this instead of making it wrong and bad? And then I'm like, oh, well, it's ugly. And I'm like, who said that? Well, all pimples are ugly. This one ain't. You know what I mean? Like, take up space. You know what I mean? Like, do you want to have more of my chin? You know what I mean? Because it's like that dialogue, because this is my face and this is my body. And now this is my pimple that is joining us on Easy Talk today. And so, like, just that space too, because it's like, why does it have to be wrong? Why does it have to be ugly? Why does it have to be hideous? Like, because that's what social media told me. You would rather see a very clear, beautiful, bright face. Well, that's not mine today. So instead of making me wrong and make me feel bad and make me self-conscious, I'm gonna be like, no, take up space, boo-boo. You are welcome here too. So that's another example of like a practice that just so happened today when it comes to self-love. But please, Senda Lynette.
And what I'm going to say to your pimple is, hey, girl, because I have one too over here. It's because I didn't tell. Anyway, so for my daily practice, one of the things that I do in this season is, and it's very basic, but as I listen to a lot of the things, I won't say it's basic in the sense that it's insignificant. For me, it's the little things. And for me right now, the very first thing that I do as far as my daily practice is, especially knowing my emotional solar plexus, I can wake up feeling super high, I can wake up low, and I fluctuate. In like the first 10 minutes of opening my eyes, I experience a whole lot. So what I do is I really just pause and I lay there to see what I need to do to care for myself for the day. And from there, I set the intention to what it's going to be. And I've been starting, the one consistent thing is my geisha meditation. I have on Spotify, it's a 7-minute practice. And I lean into that and allow myself to, it's like a tea kettle, it gets all fired up and it gets ready to go. So I kind of just let it my emotions do the thing, feel the feelings, let the dreams and all the things that may have come up dissipate. And then I let flow happen. and my release control for the day to see whatever that need is. So, because I set the intention this year to be an early person, because I didn't used to be. And since I've been at my parents' house, I'm up at 7 a.m. You ask and you receive. So that allows me to get a good mental space so that I can take on the day. So that's where I am right now.
Thank you so much for that. Moving right along, can you please share, Jen, we're starting with you. Can you please share a specific moment or experience when practicing self-love significantly impacted your well-being?
Yep. um, it's when I came back home, when I decided to pack all of what I could in my car, and I left that terrible toxic relationship that I thought I'd never leave, that I thought that was it for me forever. I packed my car that that didn't have rear brakes, that had one working headlight, that didn't have tail lights, but it had brake lights. And I drove my butt from Florida all the way to Michigan. And that was my journey. That practice right there, that is what set in motion my journey for self-love. And so I've been on my journey since December 31st, 2011. I have been going through all of the things. And so I think, yeah, that's the moment that set it all for me.
Thank you for your willingness to share that with us. Darice?
Yeah, so I think for me, I had a really hard time a few years back. I lost my job. I was fired. And if has ever happened to anybody before, it's such a horrible experience. It's a hard experience because, I went through all those feelings, of failure, of not being enough, not being competent, not being right, just all the knots, all the problems, and all the things to be insecure about myself and my ability to do good. And so it was a challenge during that time because loving on myself in spite of all these things just didn't seem to go together. It seemed like a big, I needed to sit and believe all that negative stuff. But that was completely not the thing to do. I had to really force myself to start believing the positive things. I started getting into affirmations and saying those things over myself. I started getting into a routine of getting up in the morning, taking time for myself, loving on myself, even though I wasn't working, instead of wallowing in my bed all day, just doing nothing and feeling sad for myself, getting up, being intentional about doing something productive every day, even if it was small or simple, and giving myself the time and space to get out there and try again and not just give up on myself. And fall into that world of failure, but to try again. And so I did that. And it took some time and a lot of practice and a lot of growth and a lot of loving, but I got through that phase of life. And obviously I'm working again, but it's a hard thing to go through. And I'm so glad that I was able to get through that and to keep myself intact and filled with love through that process.
Thank you also for sharing that. Grace?
So the question is the biggest self-love thing we've done. I mean, it's very similar to you, Jennifer. I think the biggest thing is realizing that I was worthy of more than a toxic, dysfunctional, horrific marriage, and deciding to leave, and the kind of planning that took, the amount of time it took, how many friends it took, how much support I had to rally, how scared I was. I think it's probably the bravest thing I've ever done in my life. Maybe one other thing might rival it, but in my adult life, I'll say in my adult life, I think it's the bravest thing I've ever done. And I think at my core, I just knew I can't I can't love myself or even model that for my children while staying in this dynamic. And deciding to survive, I think, was the biggest thing. Like, I'm going to survive. I am going to, at some point, get, whatever resources I need, a full-time job, go back to work, go back to school, like all of that, stabilize. And honestly, it's taken me like, I would say 5 years now, like, probably to like get out, get stable, get stable, to get in a place where I can actually say like, wow, I'm actually really healing and really who I want to be for my children. And I'm still really, have a long way to go. But I'm proud of myself for all the steps I've taken in these last five years to love myself.
Thank you, Grace. Amari?
Okay. Yep. That question. I would say, because I will say that I first thank for social media. So now social media is kind of a bigger thing. So I feel like I kind of paid attention. I always kind of paid attention to other people's stories and, just see how people kind of think. I feel like my self-worth journey really started once I had a baby. Like I see, you always see the moms put you become a mom, you put your kids first and this, but then sometimes you do it and you don't fill your own cup. So I really didn't want to do that. So I feel like that really started my journey, like to make sure, like, not only did I pour into his cup and to be the mom that I could be, but also to myself. So I kind of just took stuff from everybody else. Relationships, like you said, was one-sided and not always the best. And, but that would really I feel like I kind of paid attention to other people. And really started wasn't nothing major to make me start, but just seeing how other people were when they poured into, say, their self, seeing how other people was when they put their self first, how they were able to give for others. So I kind of just seeing other people, and that kind of started it for the most part, because I seen how their glow was when they really loved their self. So
Thank you so much for that, Amari. SS?
This one is a lot. So for me, one of the moments, and I think one of the most significant moments, was when, I think I wrote about it in my second book, is I had an epic fail as a mom trying to raise this baby girl. And don't ever be ashamed of them coming in. Let those babies and kids come on into the room. We love the babies. So mine was as an epic fail as a mom. And it was a moment where I realized my well-being was negatively impacting the way that I was mothering, because I was mothering a daughter through my insecurities and lack of self-love. It gets a little emotional. And I realized that I was projecting what some of my stuff was onto my daughter at a very crucial point in her life. And I had to really settle into loving myself, to let go of what was ailing me, so that I didn't negatively impact her, even though the experience did. But I think that experience, because it made me who I am today, and it made me be the first to put me first. And so by doing that, I'm able to demonstrate, by caring for me first and my well-being, what that looks like. And that moms aren't perfect, but before I was a mom, I was me. And that once I decided to relearn how to love me, free of any domestication or what I thought the mom should be here, what I needed to protect my daughter from, once I leaned into me, I was able to be who I am and be a better version of me. And I'm always aspiring to be who that person is. And as I strive to 50, and less than 2 months, I look forward to who that woman at 50 is going to be.
Thank you for that, sis. So there's a lot of moments that come to mind when I think about my self-love journey. But one that really stands out is back in 2021, at the end of the year, when I decided to go to the hospital and check myself into a psychiatric hospital. Um, and the reason why I bring that up under this and how I feel like this decision created a depth of well-being that I never experienced before is because I was willing to keep it all the way real with myself and say, like, not only am I not okay, but like it's reached a point where like I have to do something different. And there's so much stigma around mental health. There's so much stigma around being in a psychiatric hospital. But for me, like I shied away from this for so long because I was worried about what other people thought of me. And for me, self-love is the ability to let go of what the world thinks of you, to let go of that domestication you talked about, sis, to let go of these expectations, to let go of the norms and keep it all the way real. Like, and to say, like, I'm fully not okay. Like, I'm not, and I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done. And to leave my family, to not know what was going to happen. I didn't have no plans. I didn't have everything situated. I didn't have everything arranged. There was no nothing. There was an agreement made between me and my therapist, which led me to the hospital, which led me to Grand Rapids, which led me to being gone for the new year coming into 2022. And again, like I just want to share that because it's like, I'm worthy of being loved wholly and fully, all pieces and parts. So the parts that everyone loves and the parts that people are like, oh, Erica, we want more. And those pieces and parts of me that are darker, pieces and parts of me that I don't want to share with everybody, but still are worthy of being seen and heard. And again, when it comes to that level of well-being, I now know what mental wellness, physical wellness, emotional wellness, spiritual wellness, like it's a component of all of the pieces. And so yeah, that's what I have to share on that.
Thank you, Erica, for that, because I think that's huge.
Thanks, friend.
So our next one, and we've kind of talked about this already, or it's in many of our practices. What are self-care rituals and activities? And boop, boop, go back, wrong one. In what ways do you challenge negative self-talk? I know, Grace, you touched on this earlier. How do we challenge negative self-talk and self-critical thoughts? And we'll start with Jennifer.
Oh, that's a rough one for me. Because being perfect is a big deal. It's not a big deal now, but for Jenny or little Jen, it was definitely always a big deal, and that shows up now. It shows up all the time. And so if I make a mistake or what I think is a mistake, I'm like, nope, you're not allowed to be human. So I think I struggle with that one. So that's definitely one. I'm super critical of myself. So I'm working on that one. I can't say that I have anything tried and true that I do to pull myself out of it, because I don't know that I'm at a point where I'm able to. The realness in that so much. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have anything else to add to that. I think that that's definitely something that I need to work on or figure out how to pull myself away from.
And if it's okay for me to put this little nugget in there in
Yes,
response to what you just shared, I'm currently working through the 4 Agreements, the companion book. And in this book, it talks about the victim and the judge. And in it asks us, me, you, to ask yourself, the judge, these 4 questions. And this is not for a response, but this is just me to drop this nugget here. Is it a big deal? Because we talk about perfection, right? Yeah. And I struggle with that too. Perfection, control, wanting to be all of the things. Is it a big deal? Who cares? So what? Why not? And if none of that satisfies you internally, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter anyway. So just things to ponder and to reflect on when that judge starts to come up and judge.
What's the book?
It's called The 4 Agreements, the companion book.
So I just, like, before this morning, before coming on the podcast, I was listening to my 4 Agreements audiobook. And I'm reading currently this one, Present Over Perfect.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's definitely it's something that I care a lot about. It's something that matters a lot to me, and that I'm trying to find my way. So I think I'm going to gather that book also that you have.
It's a game changer, Jennifer. I mean, it's blowing my mind. So thank you for allowing me in that space to share that.
I appreciate you very much.
Next, we'll go to I want it whoever feels organically ready to flow, because this is a juicy one.
Will you repeat it again?
Repeat the point.
The question, the original question.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, Grace. I'm sorry. Apologies. Not apologies. Yes, I will. In what ways do you challenge negative self-talk or self-critical thoughts?
Oh, okay.
Okay. And whoever feels able and ready and up for flowing, I'm gonna go on mute so we can hold space.
I will say that one tip I got from Tim, I think it's Tim Ferriss, like he's some like self-productivity guru or something. One tip that he said that has really helped me is when you make a decision that you're going to stick with and you decide it takes away a lot of the energy of when you're in the moment. You know, like let me just, and I'll bring it back, but like, let's just say you decide you're going to work out every day at 7. So that at 7, you're not like, oh, should I get up? Should I not get up? You know, whatever the case may be. So if you decide, then you can take away some of that energy of making the decision. Just decide, oh, I'm someone who gets up every day at 7. That's what I do. I work out at 7, you know. Anyway, so I decided to take that advice about challenging my negative self-talk when like I said before, like I just decided I'm not someone who speaks negatively to myself. Right. So then in the moment, it was kind of like, well, what do I need to do? But the actual skill, and I don't even know, I think I read this in a book and I don't remember which book, but one of the books I read in one of these days, probably by a woman, was to to honor the struggle, kind of what you said too, Erica, to honor whatever it is, and to invite it, like you did the pimple. So if I'm struggling with thoughts of like my career, because that's something I have really struggled with, like I've really made a lot of mistakes with my career and I could be farther along, I could be making more money, yada yada yada. So when I find myself like like it's really getting to me, or I can hear myself being mean about it, like you're a failure, you failed, is just reframing it like you have tried a lot of things. Reframing the mean thoughts to at least acknowledge the accuracy of it. I have tried a lot of things, or even to say, like, in a kind way, like some things haven't gone so well. So how can you acknowledge that and decide to take those things and do better? So I do quite a lot of reframing, and recently the big one for me has been overwhelm. I'm someone who, I'm pretty sure I have ADHD, but I'm not diagnosed. But I feel constantly overwhelmed. So that has been a big, big deal. And so I've been trying to reframe that, like, okay, you are capable of this task. It's because I'm not even being mean to myself. I'm just saying, like, I'm overwhelmed. I can't do it. I'm talking about the laundry, y'all. Okay. I'm talking about decluttering. And so it's not even being mean to myself. It's just changing it and just being like, you are capable of doing the laundry. I believe you. I believe that you're capable of doing this. So I'm trying to practice. I brought up the laundry thing as a way to say I'm trying to really practice this reframe so that it's just becomes something where, like, I am someone who reframes negative thoughts. I do not allow negative thoughts. I don't say mean seem to, or even self-defeating thoughts. And I reframe it, and I immediately make it into something that is what's the word I'm looking for? Something I can do or I can accomplish or whatever. It's just really helped me to talk to myself like I am the little version of myself. Because I would never say to Revy, like, you're incapable of doing your own laundry. You know, I'd be like, girl, you're gonna learn this skill. We're gonna get in here and we're gonna do this laundry. Because you're gonna be doing it your whole life. So
And Grace, is when you talk about laundry, it took me back to a space when we spoke earlier about a specific moment about self-love and well-being. Laundry was my biggest indicator for me. And it's so interesting. I was talking to a sorority sister of mine, and she was in my life at that time where it was really, really bad. And like literally in my laundry room, you could swim in my basement. And that for me, as I look back and I, reflect on it now, that was the indicator. And I didn't know I was over 300 pounds, and I probably had a year's worth of laundry downstairs. And instead of going to wash what was down there, I'd go buy something new that was bigger to cover the brokenness. So, I mean, it's those little things that really that hit a little memory for me. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah. And I also think it has to do with life stage too, because when you're dealing with little kids and you're doing their laundry too. But yes, I hear you. And I definitely think that my mess has been a reflection of my own self-hatred, like being really, really messy. And I'm trying to really get a big handle on it. So
I just want to say thank y'all so much. Like, let's talk about the overwhelm for the basic things. Like, let us talk about this, because we are not alone. There's so many, like the dust accumulating. Like, I don't want to get up on something and dust it. And for me, it does feel overwhelming when I have 1,001 other things going on, whether they are big, whether they are small. You can look at it from the external world and place all of these judgments. But when we are able to be real with ourselves, yes, laundry, dishes, basic cleaning can feel extremely overwhelming, regardless of the number of tasks that are on our plate. Like, period, the end. We don't need to justify feeling overwhelmed, but just acknowledging it and being willing to hold space and talk about it. Like, let us talk about it so that way it's not so like, oh, I can't believe I'm the only one. No, several. Like, you are not alone if you're struggling with all of the tasks, even if it's only 3. Who cares? Like, so thank you so much. And yes, sometimes it is our resistance to looking at things. And sometimes it's just one more thing that I don't want to do right now. And sometimes it's nothing in the world is going wrong, but the idea of doing laundry is going to send me into a tizzy. All of those are worthy of being held. All of those are worthy of being felt. So thank you all for just like sharing it, because it's real. Yes, all of it is real. All of us, we experience it at some time. So thank you for just bringing this to the table. Let's air this joker out. Like, put it out there. Kids, no
dirty
kids.
laundry. Let's air the dirty laundry.
Right. For real though, because of so many people do, and then we think, oh my God, my house, oh no. And it's like, yes, yeah, period. And you feel overwhelmed, and that's okay. It's okay. That's it. Sorry. Go ahead, Darice girl, or Amari, whoever wants to share next.
And I'll restate the question just in case it was lost. And it's, in what way do we challenge negative self-talk or self-critical?
I'll say, like, for me, and I feel you, Jennifer, because this is a big struggle for myself as well. I am always working on it, but I don't seem um to like conquer it very well. For me, I almost don't even notice it unless I'm having a conversation with a friend or somebody and they notice it and then they call it out. Hey, you're being really hard on yourself. You're speaking really negative. I noticed that you are, being very critical about yourself. You need to like reframe that or restate that or give yourself grace, and that's when I'm like, you know what, you're right. I wasn't seeing it, but I am. And in that moment, I like to try to do some of that reframing that Grace mentioned, or just looking at the situation differently, or just trying to give myself, the grace to say, it's okay that I feel this way, but I don't need to beat myself up about it. I don't need to run myself to the ground about it. My feelings are valid and important and true, and just let it stay with that and let it sit there. And for me, that's kind of what I've been doing. I haven't quite conquered this yet, and I'm still working on it. And like I said, I don't even identify it when it's happening sometimes, but when it is brought to my attention or when I am aware of it, I definitely try to address it and give myself that love in that time, in that space, to be okay.
So I would say I would kind of piggyback off Grace. It's really because I definitely be having some negative thoughts, or you get to doing something, you be like, oh, I could have did this. But I always, one of my sayings is give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Everybody need grace. So that's one. And just really like reframing the work. Like you said, you would have someone be like, oh, I didn't do this. And be like, well, you got up this morning, you brush your teeth, you wash your face. So at that point, like you did what you were supposed to do. You breathing. And just reframing a lot of stuff, or resetting my mindset. Like I catch myself like in the half or the midst of something, and just really trying to change the wording and kind of just put it back in myself in a positive way. But it always don't work like that. Some days you just want to sit in bed and eat some Cold Stone ice cream, and I sit in bed and eat ice cream. So it's just what happens. But that's how I really try to do. If I say something negative or I think something negative, I really try to switch it. And at least 15 seconds, 15, 20 seconds, I got to reframe it in my head to have it say something at least positive. That's all.
Sis, did you go?
So for me, this has definitely also been a journey, but it's one that like I kind of get excited about now, because I too have definitely struggled with that perfectionism, with people pleasing. Like I'm always going to be feeling some type of way about me. So if I can make you think that I'm this great person, or if I can do these things to make you happy, then hey, I will feel better. And so kind of taking my power back is like just honoring it. Like, for instance, one thing may be I sometimes struggle like with binge eating. And so I'll beat myself up because I'll be like, you said you weren't going to do it tonight. You said, remember, like we're doing this. And instead being like, okay, what's going on? What is here? Like, what led me to this? Like, what is actually going on? So instead of like shaming myself and going in on myself, I allow myself to play with myself and be like, okay, so are you avoiding something? Are you denying something? Are you not wanting to feel, so you want to eat instead? Are you trying to pass by time? Like just getting to know myself. I feel like that's a big piece. Or like when I am super critical, even going back to the pimple, and it's like, ugh, look at you, woo, woo, woo. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, where is this coming from? Whose voice is this? Because it's not mine. So is it something I heard from my childhood? Is it something my ex-husband used to say to me? Is it, you know what I mean? Like, where is this narrative coming from? And so once I'm able to explore the narrative and see what's really going on, I then hold space for it, because the world can make me wrong in so many ways, but I get an opportunity to love me and to protect me and to take care of me. So when the voice comes, I want to, like I said, play with it. I want to see what's going on. I want to see, like, what is the reasoning behind this behavior? What is the reasoning behind me all of a sudden feeling like I need to go in on myself? And again, identifying the voice, identifying the source, and then being like, once I have my information, then I can take it even further and look at it deeper and being like, okay, so realistically, if binge eating is something that you do sometimes, then what are different things that we can do? So like I got stress balls, I got my intention bracelet. So like giving myself other things to do, so that way when I'm feeling this way, or maybe I'll watch something, I'll listen to something, I'll read a book, because those make me feel good. So just learning myself and using the negative talk and the self-destructive talk and all of that to serve me in another way.
Thank you, Queens, for sharing that. And I'll make mine brief because wow, thank you for all that's been shared. Some of my biggest thing right now for me is feeling the feelings, feeling the why the negativity is coming, and assess as to, for one, am I being impeccable with my word and with my thought to myself? Because if I'm being the first to put me first in all ways, I need to love myself through words. And I know that the words that I speak can either make or either break me, because words have power. So I listen to a lot of affirmation music. When I tell you, I didn't even know it was a genre until I connected with the Be Well platform. I had no idea I didn't even know what it was. And when I tell you, those songs had me going, Take Up Spaces, Londrelle, Love and Gratitude, from feeling on myself when I'm feeling a little body dysmorphia of what I used to look like versus what I look like now. And it's a gospel. I mean, I have playlists. I have the self-love from 2023, 2024 self-love playlist, body image playlist, pleasure playlist, all of the things to help reaffirm as I reteach and relearn how to love me deeply at all of the levels. So music is my jam. Movement, thanks to my sis. In our Reiki, we have a women and wellness platform that we work with Nairi Cornelius. And when I tell you, the movement with Reiki healing energy, with movement, it just, all of those things give me life. And it's the movement, and it's the music. It fuels my soul and just makes me feel so good. And I look a lot of mirror work. I write on my mirror, my bathroom at my parents' house since I've been here. He was like, I'm going to use your restroom, because mom was in there. And he went to wash his hands and looked up at the mirror. He was like, he jumped. Because I have, believe in yourself. You got this. The 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word and thought. And every day I write whatever I feel I need to when I look in the mirror. No, you're beautiful. Look deeply. I write it all on my mirror. So those are some of the tools and ways that because it's work, and I'm constantly talking to myself and battling what was and what society said I should be doing versus what I know God has put in me. And that self-talk comes to try to destroy and deter me from that path. And I know that God has me here to do something that is beyond my imagination. So I have to use all of those different modalities. Of course, the word, Reiki, those are all of the ways. In this juncture. And it's like, it gives me life. So that's where I am in this juncture.
Are you willing to share those playlists?
Absolutely. Erica and I will both share them, because I will tell you, we recorded this last weekend, and Erica accidentally put on this violin playlist. And I didn't even realize there was a whole, this genre of like violin music that it like changes lives. So yes, we'll share all of those playlists with you all once we're by the end of the not give us to the end of the weekend. But yes, we will definitely share them all because
Okay.
it's so many. And as you all find, let's share that space that Erica created after the vision board. If you guys come up with songs, share that stuff because I will steal a song in a minute. So yes, we'll share those.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. So, since you kind of prepared us for this next question with what self-care rituals or activities bring you the most joy and fulfillment. So, Jen, do you want to kick us off?
Oh, I think getting up in the morning and lighting a candle and having a cup of tea probably gets me. And something I haven't been doing that was an every Sunday morning thing, and I just call it church because it's fitting, I guess. I'm not a religious person by any means, but I am spiritual. But I like to go to the lake. And I get up and I go to the lake. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm at the lake before the sun comes up because I'm ready to see the sun come up. And I walk the beach and I talk to myself and I talk to Creator and I talk to the universe and I pick up all the gifts. I get all the beautiful things. I have them everywhere. See, I'll share a little bit. My rocks, they're a little hard to see. There's some glass there. Gosh, because I'm thankful for everything that I get to pick up and put in my pocket. And I think that a lot of those things, and I bring them home and they're all over my apartment. And those, I think that, because when I go, I always ask for something. And I think that it's an acceptable thing to ask for something. And I always receive what I ask for, no matter what context I'm asking it in. I always receive it. Don't always know how to receive it, but I always receive it. And being able to see the things around and re-feel those feelings. It helps you acknowledge the things that you need to make yourself feel better, that the things that make you feel joy, the things that make you feel it's a big deal for me one of the things is to feel small in such a grand place. I think is a blessing because that means there's no ego in that and you're a small part of something so large, and to be able to be a part of that and acknowledge that you're a part of that is a big deal, and that's love in itself. So I think getting up and connecting is my thing.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Jen. And I will just, shout you out because your rock collection, girl, is everything. And it's so like when you walk into her apartment, like you feel the love, you feel outdoorsy, like, you know what I mean? Because it's the energy that she brings, like the earth, the grounding, the solace, like real root chakra energy you carry, Jen. But just like safety and belonging, and you feel at one with when you share space with Jen in her apartment, and like you feel small too in the wholeness of your living space. So it's a gift just to witness. So
I appreciate that.
out there. Yeah, like it is. Her apartment is like going to a museum. You know what I mean? Like you don't know what you might see, what might be over here. I mean, it's so rich and vibrant, and like I said, very just Mother Gaia is all in there. So
Can I add then? I since you brought that up, it just shed light on I think when I first came into the podcast, Linda Lynette was able to see like behind me, and she expressed like my what she's seen in my space and stuff like that. And it is like not only for me, but for everybody else to experience my space the same way that I do. It is so important to me. So I guess like that's a self-care ritual for me, is how important it is for me to, and it's not, how do I want to say this, because it's not like I don't want to take away from myself to give to somebody else, but how other people feel and in my presence and in my energy is so wildly important to me. I at work, I get, everybody's always telling me how uplifting and positive, and I'm never negative, and I never have anything bad to say, and I help everybody get kind of through the shifting, because it can be a little tedious when you work in a metal factory and it's dirty and it's hot and it's long hours, and no matter what I might be feeling inside that day, I never project that onto anybody else, because I always want everybody else around me to be comfortable, because it's super important, because that makes me comfortable. If you're comfortable and I can feel that your energy is comfortable, I'm more at ease. So I feel like that, and that's self-love, I think. Acknowledging that and being there and giving to people the same things that you need in return, because as you extend it, you get it back. And that's natural flux.
And for those who are familiar with human design, Jen is a projector. So that is full aura energy of her type. So I just want to shout her out because she is just that person. So thank you for that, Jen. And Darice, please share with us your self-care rituals, practices, what gets you feeling all self-lovey.
For me, it's not a lot. I'm a pretty simple person. And but what really comes to me, and Zen mentioned this too, is music. And music is huge for me. And it doesn't matter what kind of day I'm having, what's going on, or what is just in my world or life at that time. Let me pop on the right music and I am in my love space. I'm just there with it. Whether it be like just my worship music that I really love and enjoy, or just some instrumentals. I really just can't get enough of it, and I feel so great in those moments. So it's the music, and then I'm also a big audiobook lover. Absolutely love listening to my audiobooks, and this is my thing to do on my drive to work. I drive about a 35-minute drive, and so I listen to my books, and especially leaving work when I need to like relax and come down from like a stressful day and just get my mind like off of work. I throw on a book and I'm just there, and I just love it. It makes me feel so good. And then my drive home is relaxing and enjoyable. And so like music and my audiobooks, those are my things. And I love that.
Girl, you got me over here so excited. I love a good audio book, Doris. Like, I can't wait for you to watch this back, because when you see you talking about the way that you fill your cup up, I feel like your heart will be as open and warm as ours are right now, having witnessed you just share those things. Hearing you speak about the worship music and hearing you just like your whole face was moving as you talked about the audiobooks and what it gave to you and how it served you. So thank you so much for that, because I can't wait for you to see it back. Like your energy, girl, was just so just full. So thank you for that. Grace and Revy, please share.
Okay. So for me, there's a couple that okay, we'll be quietly invisible. The couple that are like the most meaningful for me, like I can really see like you are really loving yourself, girl, is when I go out for walks. So just basic walks. I started that when I was working at the library. I'd use both my 15-minute breaks, and I just realized like, wow, this is really life-giving. And because it could only be 15 minutes, it was just like I always wanted more. So when I stopped working there, I was like, I have to keep that up. So I've kept that up for like the last 3 years, trying to do daily walks even in the winter, y'all. That's how much I know that it's meaningful, because I have done these walks when it's cold, even when the sun ain't out. So that's one thing. And then I was going to piggyback. I love, while I'm doing my walks, to listen to audiobooks or podcasts. So as long as it's something that I'm learning it feels really good if it's learning. I don't do a lot of fiction while I'm walking because I just would rather learn. So, and that feels really life-giving to me. And if we lived closer, I'm in Kalamazoo, but if I lived closer to Lake Michigan, I would go to Lake Michigan every single day.
Why? What's Lake Michigan anyway?
Lake Michigan is the big lake we go to swim sometimes. Isn't it the world's largest freshwater lake? I don't know if it's the largest or it's at least maybe the second largest freshwater lake in the world. Is it the world's largest? Yeah. So beautiful. And I love just hearing the sounds of the waves. And yeah, I would take my walks there every day, but 45-minute drive each way ain't happening. So I would just go outside. Nice.
Thank you for that, Grace. Queen Amari.
He's in, out of there.
I was like, I don't know what he doing. Okay, we talk about routines. Again, I was kind of piggyback on my morning routine, my morning and night routine. Just said, they're gonna see me really be your mama. Okay, stop. I'm on the phone. I also would say, and also books. I've been really into books lately. So audio books, regular books. I'm all into reading right now. So that is one. Also, what else? Take shopping. Not like, over excessive shopping, but I would definitely go buy myself something. I learned that too. Go buy yourself something. Don't, pour into yourself that way. And going out to eat, walks. I go sit at the bar, order me a nice little drink, get dressed, and it just be my time. But that's something that I really be like, okay, you really loving on yourself when you go take yourself out, you get yourself dressed, be all smelling good, and that's just one of the things I've really been loving to do.
Thank you for that so much, Amari. Girl, I'll never forget the first time I took myself out by myself. My anxiety was through the roof. I was like breathing hard, and I was like, I'm about to be looking so awkward. I'm just out here by myself. People were like, well, who's her date? And I was like, I'm going to Red Lobster. I'm about to order me the lobster pizza for an appetite. Like, I was like, I'm doing the whole 3-course just for me. Went and took myself to Selma because it was just released. So that's how recent it was. But I mean, I guess Selma came out a few years ago. But I'm like, and there's people in there everywhere in the movie theater, and I'm just in there by myself. And I'm like, Erica, girl, it is okay. Everybody is not worried about you. And if they are worried about you, then that is their problem because you don't know them and they don't know you. So if that's how they want to spend their time, let them. But you sit here, and it's okay to take yourself out on a date. Like, it's okay to go do things by yourself. And so I just really appreciate you bringing that out, Amari. Like, yeah, I got cute for me. I went to the bar for me. I went and ordered me a signature cocktail. Like, yes, for me, by myself. So thank you for bringing that, because I think just from what I've heard, a lot of people, like, the nerves of just being by themselves. And so I love that you brought, like, it wasn't no hesitancy in your voice. You was like, this is what I do. This is me loving me. So thank you for just bringing that. And I hope that it encourages other people. Like, you can do a solo date. You can get real cute just for you. Go do you, whether it's going to get a drink, going to Red Lobster, going to Rooster, you know what I mean? Wherever you want to go, but like, do you. So yes, thank you for bringing that.
Thank you.
And then sis, would you like to share your self-care?
I kind of low-key did by mistake, but with Flo prior. But what I will add to that dating by yourself, my granddad used to tell me when I was younger, and I said, Granddad, I'm bored. He said, well, if you're bored, you're boring. And if you don't like spending time by yourself, that means you don't like yourself. And I used to think that was so harsh because I was like 5 years old and like, who tells a 5-year-old that? But I literally, every day, I work from home. And I work from wherever I am, in my parents' house now. I get up, I draw my eyebrows, I put on my brown lipstick, and I do my hair. And I put maybe on the same outfit. It's clean because I wash laundry every day here. Go figure, right? Me and laundry. And it may be this black jumper and the same little Afghan. But I get up and I get dressed for me. every single day. And I put on my lipstick. And I was like, who runs out of lipstick and they're home every day? Me, because I want my lips to be pretty for me. So, and another thing, Amari, who drinks better than luxury sips? So I don't know how you going to get a cocktail when you
Sometimes you don't want to make it. I do it at home, and that's another thing. I put on a movie real quick, get a box of popcorn. Like I don't know, like I was saying before, social. I'm thank God that I live in the time with social media because you get a lot of people's stories. So I have got so much from other people's stories, and like you said, people be scared to go out to eat and stuff like this. I got to the point where it was like, you have to do it for yourself because if nobody else do it, if you ain't gonna get dressed and go show off yourself, ain't nobody else gonna want to do it. So
right.
I get up. My next thing is a staycation. I went on a trip. Where did I go? Okay, so I had like a business trip a couple of years ago, and that was probably my first place. I got on a plane. I wanted to go somewhere. Wasn't nobody coming with me. I went to Baltimore, got a hotel, go out to eat, and that was I really enjoyed it. At first, I was kind of scared, like I'm traveling by myself. No, mess with me if you want to, you get shot. But no, it was really just good to be able to leave, and you could do that by yourself. You don't need nobody to go with you. You don't need that. I can get up and just go, and I really put that in my blood to just do it every year. So I try to make a self trip every year by myself.
I love that so much. Thank you. And hey there, Sweetness. I see you, girl. Sweet Pea in the building. So for me, I think sis, you brought it up, but yeah, for me, my thing is movement. And I realize I'm my happiest when I move. Like I'm that person when we go out, let me hear that beat drop and I am out there. I love to move. It's like the music, just like I can feel it in my whole body. I can it's just like it takes over me. And then channeling the Reiki energy now too while I'm just moving. It's just the way I move. You know what I mean? I'm like, girl, you a little sexy. You got the little hips rocking. You know what I mean? Just and doing it because before, you're not everybody, but some people are trained, get out the mirror. Why are you staring at yourself? Why are you looking at yourself? Woo, woo, woo. And I've even done it to my kids. But for me, one of the things when I dance is I want to look at me. I want to see me. I want to see the fluidity of my body. And even if it's just I'm off beat and I'm just whatever, it doesn't matter. It's my time. It's me breathing me in. It's me taking me in. It's me, no judgment, no cares, no nothing. It's just I'm one with the music. And the music too, it speaks to me. It's healing. It's soothing. It's my story spoken from the words of other people. I can relate to it and I can literally feel the energy moving from the soles of my feet to the top of my head when I'm one with music. So that is and I feel better. Another thing for me is yoga. I didn't want to say that I do it every day because I don't, but I'm telling you, when I do not do yoga, my body feels it. My face feels it. My energy feels it. It's just something about the yoga, the movement, the asanas, the inhale and the exhale as your body extends and comes together. And literally one of the things that I love so much about the yoga too is when you're in a position and it kind of not if you're in an asana and it's full blown hurting, please get out of it. But if you're just feeling the muscles, if you're feeling the tension, literally when you breathe into that specific place, it literally opens up in your body. It is the most amazing experience ever. Or when you're stretching and you're going down to the right and you have this much room, this much room off the floor. And with every breath, it's then this much. And then it's this much. And then it's this much. Because your body literally moves with the breath. So for me, again, yoga and overall movement, they literally do something to my soul. So that's mine.
Sis, you got me hooked on yoga now. And remember, and I have to share this with you all. A year ago, I could barely balance. I couldn't even do yoga. My body just wouldn't move. I've actually started, I'm on day 20 of yoga with Adrienne Flo. And when I tell you to be able to have my body with connecting to my breath, to hold myself down, to go from downward dog onto my belly into cobra, just centering on the breath, I never thought I'd be able to do it. And I can. And it's the most rewarding thing. And I was like, I'm gonna be 50 and fine doing my yoga. So thank you, sis, for bringing that to my mind's eye. It's an amazing, amazing practice. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That was a great commercial for it too, Erica, because I've been wanting to and been really putting it off. I was looking into doing some of the somatic yoga, or that's for people who've been through trauma. I was looking into that, and yeah, I feel like you just sold me on it. Like, because it's been one of those things I've had on my list. Like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to try this. So I was gonna get an app, and then I got caught up in the like, oh, which app is cheaper? Which app does this? Which is the best one? So I don't know.
Grace,
But
listen, girl, YouTube, Adrienne, Cassandra, Yoga with Bird. It's another girl, Yogi, in Melbourne. She's in Australia, but you just go there. And what I love about YouTube is, first of all, you at your house, so judgment-free zone. All you got to do is get you a yoga mat. There's a lot of practices that don't require blocks. They don't require anything. They have stretching. They have a morning flow. They have 10-minute practices. They got 45-minute practices. They have beginner poses. Again, like when I do my yoga at night, I just do an evening yoga. Get right on in there, type it in. Like, I'm at the point now where like almost all the videos have the red line under them because I've done them so many times. But I'm like, and it's at home, and you get to just do it by yourself. And girl, don't get me started on somatics, because I love me some somatic therapy, but yoga is one of those. And like I said, you do it by yourself. And again, Adrienne and them, they're so cool. You know what I mean? Like, they talk to you while they're doing it. And two, it's like, it's a pressure free. So if you can do it, cool. If you need modifications, they offer those too. So yes,
okay,
YouTube, girl.
I will look into that. And actually, I have all the blocks. Somebody, actually, one of my friends sent me a big box with 3 blankets, 2 blocks, 2 straps. I mean, she sent me 2 rolly things. I don't even
So
know
you
what they're all
ready?
called, but she hooked me up. So I have everything already.
Yes.
And I actually, now that I think about it, I actually did buy the yoga app. I bought an app called the Yoga. I got a year subscription. I paid like $99 for it last December, and I have not used it yet. So
Pardon me.
I just need to get started.
Right.
This was my little wake up call from the universe this morning to get my butt doing this yoga.
Yeah.
And Adrienne has her puppy with her when she does her yoga. And I love watching her puppy, because when I'm at home, my puppy's with me. It's so good though. Yeah.
Can I chime in about aerial yoga? Because me and Erica have done that twice. Right, Erica? We did it twice.
We did, yes.
And what an experience. Like an absolute like game changer, life, like a great life experience, something that I would, if you want to try yoga and you're feeling comfortable to do a group activity, find it, aerial yoga place, and please do it. It's quite the experience.
Yes, gliding in the air with the things as you're doing different yoga poses. They have one in Three Rivers, which is about 30-ish minutes away. And then they have a couple here. I did intro to pole dancing. Best thing I've ever done. Another self-love thing. But when I did that, they also do the aerial there. And so I guess that's another thing, like learning how to be vulnerable enough to swing around on a pole. One of the best things I ever did. Like, it was so liberating, especially someone like me with a history of sexual trauma. I'm like, just getting and you're still fully dressed, all of that stuff, it's very classy, it's very healing, it's very therapeutic, but like just allowing again the music to come and having that, and like going from not being able to lift yourself up to being able to do like a little spin around that joker, like it is just, and again, like it's very tasteful, and it's community. The women, like we got so close during our class, and just like different people from all walks of life just coming in to move and be free. So that's another thing. If anyone's interested, I can send you the info because it's everything. Just it's nice.
Hey, so I don't mean to interrupt, but I have to go for my event. So I do want to share with everybody, though, it was me and two other ladies that I do business. Well, we do business to business a lot. We're having a floral soiree. So that is a class, not really a class, but you will make your own floral arrangements. We have small bites, cocktails, music. It's on March the 10th from 1 to 4. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat with the 20% off. But yeah, if you guys are not, it's a self-love thing. It's for us to give the women in our life flowers and to give our friends and everybody their flowers. So if you guys aren't doing anything, please stop by. But yeah, I'll drop that, and I hope you guys have a good one. And thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for
being
joining.
queen.
And I'll be back in town for your event.
My friend, our Shay Show was like, "Where is that lady? Is she gonna come?" And I was like, "I hope so. I think so. We're gonna make sure if she here, we're gonna make sure she go."
I'll be back in town that week. Yes.
Okay. You guys have a good one.
You
Have
too.
an
Thank you,
amazing event.
Amari. All right, sis, and you can take it over with our next question.
Okay. Scrolling down. Ooh, good one. How do you navigate societal expectations and pressures concerning self-love? You want me to repeat that one more time? How do you, if I can find it, how do you navigate societal expectations and pressures concerning self-love? And we'll start with whoever feels ready to flow.
I'll start. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Actually, you start because I just took a big bite. I'm sorry, that I'm eating.
Okay.
I'm so hungry. All I had today was celery juice. My body is like, if you don't feed me right now, so you go ahead. I'm gonna finish chewing.
Okay. I think a big thing with society and self-love is you have to love you before you can love anybody else. And I think it's kind of crap if we're going to be very transparent here. I think we don't always know how to love ourselves, and we can't always show up for ourselves. And sometimes we need other people to love us and to show up for us, to reassure us that we are able to do that and we are deserving of that for ourselves. Sometimes we have to see other people loving the people around them and loving themselves so that we can be able to love ourselves. So I think that challenging that thought is a big deal to me, because we need other people to love us, and it's kind of like a circle. So we need to love other people, and we need to allow other people to love us, so that sometimes allowing other people to love us shows us how deserving we are and in what capacity we should be loving ourselves. I think that's it.
Thanks, Jen.
Okay, I think I can talk now. So there's two things. One is I try to limit what society is saying just by identifying like how I feel in my body. If there's someone like say on social media or something that's triggering me or making me feel like I'm not enough in some way, even though it's not intentional, they're not trying to talk to me. They're just trying to do their thing, or even if it's ads, I just really try to limit it. So that I'm not getting those messages. I'm kind of trying to block it out. I have recognized that there are a few accounts on social media They don't have nothing to do with me. They don't know my name. And I just don't look at them because they bother me for whatever reason. So that's that. And then I think another way that we have to recognize that society tries to get us to love ourselves is completely and utterly commodified. Society has made it seem like if you're not spending money, you're not loving yourself. If you're not getting the best eye cream, the best whatever it is for your hair, the best perfume, this lotion, this, that, then that's not self-love. And I think I've tried to really reject that. Like, nope. Because number one, self-compassion is free. Outside is free. Grounding is free. Meditation is free. You know what I mean? Journaling is free. So I just try to really reject society's commodification of self-love and self-care. I think it's really actually disgusting. And I like to shop too, y'all. So I'm not even gonna act like, oh, I'm so pure and out here and I don't spend money. But I really do try to ask myself, like, if you buy this bubble bath brand, is this gonna make you happier? Is this really self-love? Sometimes it is. But just like I try to ask myself, like just to check in with myself, like, am I spending money right now? Is this really going to love myself or is this just going to? And I find that for myself, it's something that I forgot. Did Amari say it? I forgot who said it. Oh, yeah, she said about the travel. That the experiences, I find that shows me more love for myself than handbags. So I would rather spend, $800 or $900 on a trip or an experience than on a handbag, because I think at the end of the day, I'm going to feel like I loved myself more, while recognizing that sometimes somebody buying themselves $1,000 handbag is them saying, you know what, finally, I'm getting this and I love myself. But for me, I know that's not true for me. Because anytime I spend more than $80 on a handbag, I just sit there and think about how I must hate myself for spending that much money. So I have to prioritize my own, what my own gut is saying about how to love myself, and not listen to society, because they will have you out here broke and unhappy.
Mom,
Why, Ravi?
I'm not going to see Coel.
Shh.
Thank you for that, Grace. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate too your willingness to share the perspective of both ends, because you're like, hey, if you want to spend $1,000 on a handbag and it makes you feel that way, then great. And I feel like that is so key, because it's like you was the key word that you put there. If this is what makes you feel loved, then you do that. However, I am navigating what all of these things are saying equal self-love. And I am going inward to reflect on, what does self-love for me mean, while also honoring that your self-love may look different. But as long as the root is what the intention is focused on, then that is what matters. So thank you so much for sharing that. All of that and all of those different things all in just one share. I appreciate how many nuggets you dropped on us.
And one other thing, I also want to say that we evolve too, because it could be in 10 years. I'm like, you know what? I'm 52 or whatever I am. I really want that Chanel handbag, but for right now, this is where I'm at. But we evolve, because one of these days I want to buy a real expensive car. Forget a handbag. So I want to just honor our how we evolve as well.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like, all we have is right here, right now. So one day will be one day, while right now I know me well enough to know that this is what self-love means for me. And I am intentional about giving myself that in this moment. So thank you.
Revy would like to show y'all her handbag.
Okay, Revy girl.
That's
is
our
beautiful.
girl. I love it.
Yep, she loves that handbag. I like it too, actually. I might have to wear that one day.
Nope.
Therese, you want to share?
Yeah, I'll share a little. So I think for me, I find myself doing a lot of what Grace mentioned, just kind of ignoring some of the messages and the things out there in society, because it can be so like hard on us, especially as women and Black women. And it's just like hearing all the negative stuff that can be like supposed to be about like loving ourselves in the media, especially like I'm big on music. And so like all the music out there that's about like love, a lot of it is just garbage. And the messages that it relays are just downright hurtful and negative and just not the things that we want our young girls out here supporting and being about, you know. And so like I find myself a lot of times shutting it out and cutting out a lot of the societal stuff. And that's just my preference, because I don't want to drown myself in that. I don't want to have that constantly in my mind and in the forefront of my ideas for myself, and trying to portray those ideas. I don't want to do that. And so I find myself having to create my own versions of, you know, what it looks like to love myself, what it looks like to love others, what love in general looks like, instead of like what I'm hearing or seeing in media or music. And so that's kind of how I navigate that.
Thank you so much for sharing. Sis, do you want to share before I share?
I'm still marinating. You go ahead, sis.
Okay, because I'm marinating ish too. But what I will say is this, because because this is something that I'm really in the process of recreating and reestablishing the standards with. And my biggest thing right now is unlearning and completely releasing the expectations of society, of family, anyone else. And truly understanding and knowing what I need at this moment in my life, always centering and basing it in it being, in me being the best version of myself, doing everything and engaging from a space of love with pure intentions. Also understanding that society is made up, my family is made up, the world is made up of people with their own versions and vantage points that are built upon their own stuff, good, bad, and everything in between. And no longer having the expectation that anybody else can know me better than I know myself. So how I've been able to navigate that is truly leaning into, again, having pure intentions, truly leaning into being balanced, mind, body, spirit, and soul, using my practices and modalities to make sure that I am whole, that I am doing things for the highest healing and highest good, truly understanding that me being here and what I'm supposed to be doing at any given time isn't just for me. And understanding that it's easy for somebody to tell me what I should be doing when they should be focused on what they should be doing. Understanding that people don't know how to love if they don't know how to love themselves. And most of us don't know how to love themselves, which is why we focus so much on telling other people, society telling other people what they should do. So how I navigate that, and again, literally my life's mantra at this juncture is being the first to put me first in all ways and all ways, with the base of knowing that my life is not just for me, that I'm here for a purpose, to do something that only I can do. And I don't even know what that is all the way yet. But as long as I'm doing the work and I'm letting go and releasing the domestication of what was and truly being my authentic self. Like literally, I just wrote about this, having the audacity to be who God intended me to be, free of anybody else's standards, free of that carefully curated box I was raised in. And it's interesting that since I've been home, I was talking to my mom and she said, I just always, growing, as I was raising you and just in life, I always thought like, God, why doesn't my daughter just listen to me and do what I tell her to do? Why does she always have to have an opinion? Coming to the point of her saying, that's what I value and I appreciate most about you, is that you do have that. But it took the healing for me and to let go of what society standards were and to be comfortable standing firmly in that, to be able to do that freely, free of judgment, and mainly judgment of myself, because I'm my biggest critic, but no longer being that critic, and applying the 4 agreements, being impeccable with my word, impeccable with my thought, and trusting that everybody is doing their best when they engage with me. But I'm also careful about who I engage with. I used to be for everybody. I'm not for everybody. And I'm comfortable in being in my own little hermit space, if you will, because when I do show up, I want to show up fully, wholly, and where I'm supposed to be instead of where society is telling me to be. So, and I don't even know if I answered that question all the way, but I handle the challenges by just being my authentic self and always learning and figuring out who that is as I continue to evolve. Because as you said, Grace, we are evolving. I've evolved, we've evolved, and we're continuing to, because I'm always striving to be who the divine wants me to be, because I know that we are all here purpose for somebody at any given point in time. So I want to always show up in light and love. So, yeah.
So for me, I think that the biggest way that I'm learning to navigate societal expectations and all that other extraness is by leaning into my human design. Because for me, human design is my blueprint of who I am. It makes so much sense. It connects so many dots, and those things about me that I always thought but wasn't sure because of the societal and all that other extraness that's external, it made me question who I was, and looking at other people and wondering, like, if I have never been shown love, how do I love me? And so my journey went to, again, people pleasing and seeking others for validation, because I did not know what it meant to be loved. I had people say, I love you, but the way that they treated me and the things that they did to me didn't eat. Like, I was like, that's love? Like, and even from my upbringing, my childhood experiences, childhood trauma, all of that. And then when I became adult, I just mirrored back what I grew up in. So I'm like, people say they love me, but your words and what you're doing to me, like, is that love? So, again, human design and like really like anchoring in know thyself, love thyself, honor thyself is helping me to tune out all that noise, because you do you, boo, and I'm gonna take care of me. And that is loving myself, learning the journey, the ups, the downs, the trials, this works, this doesn't work, and shutting y'all up. Like, I don't want to hear whatever. That's not okay, cool. But like, I have to do it my way. I have to experience it for myself. I have to understand it. I'm not going to do it just because you said do it. That don't work for me. So yeah, that's mine. And then just in the honoring of time, as it is 3:46, we're going to ask this last question and go around the room and get everyone's feedback. But I'm really curious, what advice would you give someone just beginning their exploration of self-love? And it is for the taking, who would ever like to begin.
I wrote something, I'll go first. I wrote something, self-love by definition is the regard for one's own well-being and happiness. To me, it is allowing yourself to just be in all life's glory and all life's mess, choosing to heal even when it hurts the most. It's getting back up, even if you had to sit down for whatever amount of time. It's helping others and offering tools for others to use to self-love. Self-love is loving yourself through it, because of it, and despite of it. Always listen to yourself. Always honor yourself. And allow every part of yourself to be valid because it is and it matters. It counts. Your voice counts. Somebody needs to hear what you've been through. You need to share what you've been through because it all leads you to loving yourself and being able to love the people around you who love you. So I think the biggest thing I would say, or the advice I would offer, is just to always show up for you in whatever space you are in life.
That deserves a round of applause, Jen. Thank you for that. I try to put it up there, but I just want you to know, claps all around.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who's next?
I will say for me, or the advice I would give is kind of what I said earlier. I hate to be a broken record, but this kind of my mantra is be who you needed when you were a little girl. Like, if we're talking to a woman, be who you needed when you were a little kid. What did you need? Be that for yourself now, and really explore how to compassionately deal with yourself. And always, for me, please stop. So that would be my advice. Start with compassion for yourself and practice.
Real quick, Grace, sorry to put you just on the spot, but when you say for someone who's brand new on this journey and having compassion for themselves with where they're at in a practice, would you mind just sharing something for like a brand new beginner? Like, how can they implement that self-compassion in the moment when they're first starting?
That's a great question. I would say, for example, like some people cut themselves off from crying, because they constantly got told as a kid, like, be quiet or I'm gonna give you something to cry about. All of that. And I think like that's a great way to start, is like realizing, like, do I need to cry? Can I have compassion for myself? Can I let myself cry? And also, like saying kind things to yourself. And only really, honestly, this is a big thing too, is really only letting people around you who are also compassionate with you, a healthy therapist, healthy girlfriends, because if you've got someone else around you who's like, suck it up, what you crying about? That happened 30 years ago. Then that's not going to help. So sometimes that self-love journey is weeding. It's starting off with the weeding process. And that's something I've really been working on since, well, I don't want to say it, but y'all know what I mentioned. And really trying to define, particularly the men folk, who gets to be around me and who doesn't, because as you know, they can come with a world of issues themselves. So yeah, I would say start with compassion for yourself, for crying, feeling, letting yourself fully enter the full experience with so much grace and mercy.
Thank you for that. And thank you for that tangible tool of weeding, because I think that is one of the most valuable things that any of us can do on our journey. If you are not serving me, you got to go. And then the next step is, if I do not have the capacity to serve you, then I need to step away, because real late relationships are based on the law of reciprocity. So as much as you fill my cup, it is important that I can fill your cup, because that giving and that taking and that sowing and that receiving and all of that. So thank you so much for all of those nuggets again.
I think like some advice that I would give would be just to be kind to yourself And there's no rule book to this. There's no right way. There's no true path. You have to give yourself grace and you have to be kind to yourself. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow yourself to realize what you've done that you could do better from and adapt to those changes. Allow yourself the space to be okay with maybe failing at something or not achieving something that you have worked hard at or planned to or hoped to. Give yourself kindness and grace in those moments to make mistakes and be okay with that and to grow from that and adapt and change, and as Grace said, and continuing to evolve. So that's the advice that I would give.
Y'all are dropping gold. Do you hear me? Man, my goodness. These are some powerful little nuggets. Thank y'all so much. Sis, I'm gonna save you for last because you always closing us out on Easy Talks. But yeah, my biggest advice for someone starting the journey is keep it real with yourself. Like, there are so many people, and me too. I be lying to me sometimes, or like something will bother me, and I was like, no, it doesn't bother me. Girl, it does bother you when someone does that. Don't just shrug it off and be like, oh, I'm tripping, or it's not that big of a deal. If you are moved, it is worth taking notice of. Speak your truth to yourself. And when you are not okay, listen, I'm a huge proponent of positive thinking, but I'm also a believer that positive thinking comes when you're already on the journey. Like, you don't just start with positive thinking. If you're having negative thoughts and you're like, stop thinking those thoughts, that does not make any sense. Don't do that to yourself. Do not set yourself up for failure thinking, I shouldn't be thinking this thought. I shouldn't be feeling this way. How come no. Be like, no, this is how I feel right now. However, I am also aware that this is a moment in time. This moment too shall pass. However, this is real for me right now. And I also know that in one moment, it will no longer be real, but I'm here. So right now, this is how I really feel. This sucks. This stinks. I'm overwhelmed. I'm whatever. I don't like this. This makes me uncomfortable. I don't like when she, he, they speak to me this way. It causes this inside of my body. When this happens, I feel this reaction. This is my trigger. This is my activation. Own it, accept it, and be like, this is what's up right here, right now in this moment. So that's the biggest thing. Like, give yourself grace. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to have the answers. You just got to start. And the starting point is perfect as is. It don't matter your age. It don't matter your degree. It don't matter your certification. It don't matter who your parents are. None of that matters. Right here, right now, as is, period. Let it be and keep it real. That's what advice I would.
And okay, first and foremost, thank you all. Thank you, Queens, for joining us today. This conversation has been enriching and nurturing. And we thank you for sharing space with us on Easy Talks. And what advice I would give to someone just beginning their exploration of self-love: feel the feelings, respond with authority. Remember, what you put out in the world ripples and it comes back to you. So be very intentional with your words. The journey can be lonely. So embrace solitude as you unlearn and relearn. And co-create a community of queendomness that will sustain you and hold you up when you need it the most. and just know that the journey isn't easy, but affirm yourself, be gentle with yourself, and stay the course.
All right, ladies, and that about wraps us up. Thank you all so very much for being here and your willingness to be vulnerable, to share authentically, and to share in this way, just all of us, knowing that it's going to whoever it is divinely designed to go to. This is something that is incredible. We were very intentional about doing this in February because it is the month of Valentine's Day, and Valentine's Day is hallmarked as other people, what you getting from your man, your girl, your whatever. And we want to intentionally begin to bring light that Valentine's Day, the month of February, any day of the year can be about you sowing into you and you taking care of you and you loving you and you having the opportunity to, like Zenda Lynette always says, be the first to put you first in all ways and all ways. And it ain't about no man. It ain't about no girl. It ain't about a spouse, a significant other, a child, any of that. Like, first it is you. Like, when you get to love on you, you get to take care of you, you get to hold space for you. And it can be as much time or as little time as you have, but you are worthy of being seen. You are worthy of being heard. You are worthy of being nurtured by you. You don't need nobody else to validate you. It's nice, but when you can validate yourself, you don't need no co-signer because it's already been co-signed by the Most High when you were brought into this earth. So know that you have already been deemed worthy in the eyes of the Most High. And so now it is time for you to be able to look at you in the mirror and you say confidently, wholly, and fully, I love you. You are worthy because I say so, self. So I hope that this has filled you in some type of way. Don't forget to like and subscribe and to share. But thank you again, Queens. Thank you, SS. Until we meet again. Enjoy the gift of today.
Thank you.
Yes, thank y'all. Hearts up.